All right, we are rolling.
Good deal. People haven't got a clue what it does to make that all come together over there. But I do indeed. I do indeed.
Check, check, PASDR, PASDR.
PASDR.
Check, check, Georgia SDR.
Check, Georgia SDR. Almost 7.5 minutes to showtime.
Check, check, Virginia SDR.
Check, check, Virginia SDR.
Check, check, PASDR.
Check, check, PASDR.
Check, check, Georgia SDR.
Check, check, Georgia SDR.
Check, check, New York SDR. Check, check, Kentucky SDR.
Check, check, Kentucky SDR.
Check, check, local antenna. Roger, roger.
Yeah, hello, Jeremy. How are you doing out there?
I'm good, Lou. Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still getting myself together here.
Roger, I got you combing out all the details. What did you ever find out? Did your load arc over? Whatever happened with the amp? What was the noise?
I think it was somebody modulating about a 6KC carrier in there. You guys may not hear that. Maybe you do, but as I listened back, I could hear that on the different SDRs. Anyway, I've not done anything. This is just the way it was.
Right. You had an audio issue last week. We found it to be in your amp. Did you recognize what it was?
No. That was the QRM at 6KC that was causing that problem. I've done nothing as far as working on anything. This is exactly the way it was Friday.
He had a station out there putting a signal on his carrier, on his audio, and it made it seem like he had a defective piece of equipment.
Yeah, because it was putting RF on his audio somehow. Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, yeah, it was purposely, intentionally done.
Kilo Delta 2, Delta Mike Romeo. Nice to meet you, Lou.
Nice to meet you too, sir. Supposedly, I'm the guy that created this monster. I'm not really sure how this works out. I was a kid on a 20-inch bicycle when I went to WHS to meet Mr. Ferguson, and now I'm in my 60s and he's in his 80s, and now he tells me I'm his Elmer. I'm confused.
It's funny how they choose you, huh?
Oh yeah, he chose me. He said, "You're my Elmer." I'm like, how in the hell did we get it like this?
Yeah, I run that same gamut sometimes when folks talk to me, so awesome, good deal. All right, I'll let you guys get it started. I know you got a show you want to do, Jim. Kilo Delta 2, Delta Mike Romeo, all thumbs up here, man. Beautiful as always.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I quietly grin in the background when I listen to all these people make 20 over contacts, too.
KC9VKV.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I had to find my logbook.
Where is it?
Well, it wasn't where it's supposed to be. I forgot to bring it with me.
Where is it now?
It's in front of me, and I have optimistically drawn on a notepad, a notebook, 15 squares as far as representing contacts. So I have the squares worked out already, so I just have to have to fill them as we go along here. And if I don't have that structure, then it becomes things everywhere and doodles and whatever. So this way I can keep it all relatively straight.
Chevy, do you know how many shows you put on YouTube so far with helping other hams?
Over 3,300.
Well, thank you for your service to the amateur community.
Well, yes, sir. Do I get a gold watch or at least a cigar?
No, you got all the antennas and radio equipment your Elmer can hand you. Do you need more?
No, I'm fairly squared away on that. I hope for a while anyway. SWR is down there unreadable, so I'm in good shape. You know, it'll probably over a period of time. Even the best antenna match tends to wander SWR wise, so it's good every once in a while to just check your SWR to be sure you're in good shape.
SWR is like having fuel in a plane. If you have no SWR, you have no fuel.
Well, I'm talking about the relative kind, as you would get in an SWR bridge, Roger.
Oh, yeah, I totally understand. No, I totally understand. All right. It's getting close to that time. I'm looking at less than 2 minutes to showtime.
I got my other sleeve buttoned up here.
As long as you're having fun, I'm having fun.
I always want to have more fun, though, you know?
I just wish that Elmer of yours had stopped giving you blown-up radio equipment. Last time he gave you a 7300, it cost a fortune to fix the damn thing.
Yeah, but it is running... I ain't going to say that.
Oh, I know. Well, you got a wacky Elmer, I know that. He's got 9 different personalities. Which one do you want to speak to?
The kind and benevolent one.
You mean not the flim-flam man?
No, let me take that back. You be whoever you want to be at the moment. Live in the moment.
All right, good deal. Just don't take me to a ham fest with a row of $100 bills. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's not me. You know, today, the subject today, Jimmy, after we do the vlog, we'll have to talk a little bit about our ventures and ham fest days.
Yes, sir, and we cover some other technical issues. We're coming up on about 10 seconds.
And that GTO standing by.
And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. Should an emergency arise at any time, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, "If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout." And today, we're currently featuring over 3,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And we also have a newer series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are segments of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year career in commercial broadcasting. A 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is that I have all the actual masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length major music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher level of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 5 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia specifically. And in addition, we're running our newer number 5 Hocus Pocus Internet SDR receiver, loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed Internet SDR locations spread out over 20 states across the eastern half of the United States, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 5 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. These are run as a directional scanner array with a manual voting system 6-position rotary selector. And today, on the transmit side, we'll be running our NOSWR specially oriented resonant tuned dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant tuned dipole antenna runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator. So when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this part of the band has many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I'd appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their band pass to no wider than 100 to 2900. And again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Network. And now, with all that being said, let's open it up and see if my Elmer's out there this afternoon. Good afternoon, Elmer.
Good afternoon.
What's shaking your way, sir?
The day is dedicated to you. I'm all about hanging in here the whole day for you.
Oh, well, gosh. Is it Valentine's Day?
It is that.
Well, there you go. And tall clover, man, I'm glad that you have selected this day to honor with your presence.
It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. There's a couple of things I had in mind that I wanted to discuss that maybe over the period of time I haven't really explained the importance of very well, Roger.
And that would be station ground?
Well, more specifically, I think my setup procedure, this thing called TBC, or transmit bandwidth, actually it's TBW, are really important because as you reduce that upper frequency through choice, or accident or whatever, you are actually rolling off the top of your audio because you're putting a filter into effect there that says I'm not going to let audio of that frequency pass that frequency, whatever you selected. And so it doesn't matter, all the EQ in the world is not going to help you on the top end if your TBW is set to like 25, 26, something like that. And that's why, we consider it very important to, start talking about the first thing is the TBW, and we're looking for a 100 to 2900 TBW, because that lets you have just a slice of daylight before you're annoyingly into somebody else's conversation. Just a point of grace there that is important for good operation as best as you can do. And again, that is the transmit bandwidth. Most radios today have 3 different selections, and one of those is called wide, which is that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, and that's the one that I think that you would let the transmitter operate at its best, and then give you just a slice of daylight before a problem. Roger?
Roger. I just changed mine from 38 to 33,000.
29, man. Give him a break. 29.
All right, I'm going to 29.
Now, see, you may be operating in some of those more exotic bands where you don't have the clutter that we have, right, particularly in this frequency range right here. There's a lot of nets up and down the scale that, trying to do a job. So, we suggest that everybody that's running, and contacting us be in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, so there's not a problem amongst the amongst the group. Now, you can go out to the outer edges of the band and pretty much, within reason, do whatever it is that one wants to do. But right in here, it's really important to try to keep everything transmit-wise just as cool as possible.
Yeah, being a good steward, yes. Being a good steer of the frequency, I totally agree with you, Jim.
And then, continue on with our setup, the next stage of that, off of that, would be your compressor processor. The compressor processor is really important because it fortifies the audio to some degree. Now, when you start getting suck up between words, you're past fortifying. It's become annoying. So what you want to do is try to be as selective as possible on your compression processor, and we suggest a 3 on that. A 3 and a 6 in my estimation are the same as far as actually working on the word, but the 6 gives you suck up after the word, which doesn't do anybody any good. So that's why we suggest a 6 out of 10 or a 60 out of 100, just depending on how your compressor labeling or your compressor processor is labeled up. We just want a third of that possibility. Roger?
Sounds good to me.
And then once you get all that set up, and I'm doing this in a sequential manner because you do have to get the TBW squared away first, and you do have to get the compressor in there only slightly, and that's just a third of it, before you start to set your main modulation level, which is the use of your mic volume control, so to speak, or your mic attenuator in your radio, to adjust up and down as you say the word audio. Just the first part of that word, is such a good tonality to set a level. If you look at that word on a spectrum analyzer, you'll see wall-to-wall harmonics. And that's what you want when you set up a radio. So when you say the word and then adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first. So again, on that ALC adjustment, it's when you say the word audio, don't stress it, just say it as you would say any other word in a QSO, but adjust your mic level until your ALC meter is showing 2/3 or 7, depending on how it goes. Roger?
Yes, sir.
And once you have ballistically things pretty much in order, only then can you really try to equalize the signal, because ballistically things make such a difference as far as EQ is concerned. So you've got this signal now, and you've got it tuned up, you've got it maxed to the right level, and then you can go into your tone control or your frequency adjustment and start maybe bringing up the top end. I always like the top end because it is the intelligibility aspect of your transmission. And if you lose or you're not bumping up that top end to where you really can be heard and understood, that's what the top end does. It is the articulation and enunciation aspect to your voice. And so when you're hanging out there and you've got 100 dB noise coming at you and 150 dB or 150 people on contesting you or contesting somebody else, and you're trying to get in there, you really want to be as articulated as possible so at least they can maybe understand your call sign. So we suggest, it depends, because each mic is different, and that's the thing we really have to listen to you about as far as setting that EQ. But we do want a nice crisp top end, maybe just a little tad right at crisp, because usually the degradation that occurs on a shortwave transmission usually has to do with the top end. There's very seldom a QRM situation as far as the bottom end, unless it's too much. So I think you have to have a very balanced signal, top and bottom, so to speak, but just a little bit on the leading edge on the top. So, if you were to lose the top end of your EQ, say through Mother Nature bending back your signal from two different spots out there in the ether waves, and then when they come back to the receive station, they're maybe starting to show a difference in phasing because they were reflected from two different points in time. So you introduce the time element there, and when they come back, they try to combine, but one might be just a little bit out of phase or even more out of phase than the other signal. So they start canceling out the top end of the upper end of the frequency range in your signal, and just depending on how bad and how equal the phasing is as to how much you lose on the top end. Now consider the point that you still have, or you started off with this beautiful bottom end and top end, and then Mother Nature comes along and whacks most of your top end. Then you have to be careful that you don't become Mr. Mumbles, because that's all that left. She's phased out the top end. And so that's why I try to be careful about how much bottom end I suggest, because I'm trying to hear that signal also in a bad QRM situation where Mother Nature has reflected the two different your signal in two different time zones, and when they come back together, they phase cancel each other, and then you're left with what's left, which is mumbles. So I try to play that and get enough top end to help in that kind of a situation. Roger?
It's beautiful what he does. It's music to my ears.
Yes, sir. And you never can tell. Mother Nature is just, since I've been playing with these internet SDRs, which are all across the country, I have developed a philosophy, I guess, about what Mother Nature is doing over a wide spectrum, because I'm zooming through 3 different time zones, or 2, simply because I'm listening mainly on in the East Coast, so I'm going down the East Coast. But maybe 3,000 miles from Montreal to Miami, or something in there. I'm not really sure, but a lot of distance, and I can hear what Mother Nature's doing as far as the signal, as far as it's moving up and down the coast, and one station will be just hot as a son of a gun at one place and be dead in the waters at 2 other places, and then that will reverse. So Mother Nature is not stagnant as far as moving the signals around. Roger?
Oh yeah, the absence of one is presence of another.
I think that's true. I really do. And, I have thought about this. You have seen in the book, of course, how the radiation waves move off of a dipole antenna to the right angle of the antenna run. So I'm, if that is electronically what's really happening, then you must consider the fact that you're going to be hotter broadside off a dipole antenna than off the ends. So with that in mind, I tried to figure out where I wanted to go, and it was pretty much from one end of the East Coast to the other. So that's why I laid out the antenna that we did to pinpoint Miami and up into Canada,
Orientation is an excellent situation.
Roger, and that's I was trying to remember what that was. Energy. I keep thinking RFI, but it's not RFI. It's power. What is the formula? ADI, RFI over ADI or something like that.
You know those formulas better than anybody, Jim.
Well, it's your RF power over your audience of dominant influence, and it has to do with how well that your signal is getting into the area that you want to get into. And with that in mind, and talking about dipole antennas radiating broadside to the run, then if you were to be broadside to the point that you want to transmit in, it would look like that would be the best orientation, as opposed to having your dipole run hot towards the end to the location that you're trying to transmit to.
Yes, the signal coming off the side of the wire, that's correct.
So, it's just when you consider all these things that we've been talking about, it's just, a combination of all those things that will really help you perform the operation as you would like. And everybody wants to make contacts. I think that's why we're there, to make contact. We're not there to sit to listen to static. I mean, unless there are some out there that are kind of strange, I guess. But mainly, we want to talk to people, and so everything we can do to ensure our contact, the better off we are.
Well, Jimmy, it's kind of like this. The back in 1972, the old saying was, when you spend $1 for the radio, you need to spend $3 for the antenna.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, though. I mean, all you have to do is I think you can build a dipole antenna fairly inexpensive, for maybe $10 or so. I don't think you have to spend a lot of money to build a dipole antenna, Roger.
Oh, I agree with that the analogy, but however, again, there's an old saying from engineers back in the 60s and the early 70s, for every $1 you spend for radio, spend $3. In other words, a nice big custom tower, a nice rotatable beam, a link couple tuner at the bottom of the tower, radiating the whole tower on 160, using the 40-meter 4-element beam as a top hat, the whole 9 yards. I'm talking about the whole gamut, Jimmy.
Roger. I was writing something about my grandfather. I forgot what I called it. I'll be looking for that, and I think that'd be fairly interesting. Roger.
Roger. Hey, give a friend of mine, Chuck, BMO. Hey, Chuck, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here reading the mail. In the midst of recouping from a cold, and I heard you guys on, and I thought I'd just jump in there and say hi. I've talked to Jim before, and of course Lou. I'm on the special right now, even as we speak.
Jimmy, that's the 850 we could never find the owner to, so I boxed it up and shipped it to Chuck.
Oh, really? Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Once again, he had to send it off and spend a lot of money to get it straightened out. But it got straightened out.
Yeah, they put the DDS chips and the battery and cleaned everything and aligned it, and it sounds pretty good.
Oh, it does. All new capacitors, too. Now, Chuck, what I got to do, send you a nice desktop mic to get rid of that. That microphone's driving me crazy, Chuck.
I'll tell you what, you find the mic, I'll cover the shipping.
It could be, I don't know, maybe if you kind of pulled it to the corner of your lips and actually touched the corner of your lips to get our signal-to-noise ratio up there a little bit, and then just talk past the mic, but actually touch the corner of your lips. Roger?
No, he's got key clicks when he's doing the microphone like this with the switch. In other words,
and yes, I need to get a desk
he's
mic,
doing that.
And it's on my agenda, Lou. I'm just not sure what way to go. But yes, I do want to get a desk mic.
I'm giving him a little rap over it, Jimmy.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, it's in search of perfection. We never reach it, but we can always do our darndest to search for it, you know. And there's a lot, like I say, there's a lot of little things that when you come to the end of it and you've taken care and you've got now you would have, or if you could have, a windscreen, you know, on that microphone, a foam windscreen on a desk mic or something, you will have, and that, I don't know if his radio would support a condenser element desk mic at all. What do you know?
Well, Jimmy, he is a blind ham, so he has to have a special module in his radio to tell him where he's at. So it does quite well. So being with the post office for 30-something years and being very productive as a blind, you know, being in the working society that he was, a lot of fun. He brings a lot of character to ham radio. Over.
Roger, Roger. And what's your name out there?
Chuck here, Whiskey Alpha 8, Victor Mike Ocean.
Mike, and whereabouts are you, sir?
WA8 VMO, name is Chuck, QTH, Cincinnati, Ohio. In fact, I told you I'm the guy that put the sin into Cincinnati.
Roger that, Roger that. And what radio are you running today?
The TS850 SAT. It's the one that Lou had tucked away in a closet, buried under some towels, and he packaged it up and sent it to me, and I got it restored, and now it's on the air.
Good going there. Good going. Yeah, I would suggest, how old is the radio?
This is according to this serial number, this would be early 1997.
Lou, is that a mic level thing input that would have DC to run a condenser mic?
No, he doesn't have DC on his. No, it's a Kenwood. So he would have to go with. I'm trying to think if I have a Kenwood desk mic around. I'm trying to find the actual hand mic that belongs to that radio, and that way he can send me the Owen back, because I'm going to modify it a little bit. I'm either going to fix it or take it out and shoot it with a 9mm.
That too.
I believe with a little lithium grease will take that cracking away.
I don't know. That's a pretty hard clunk.
How many other stations are out here listening to the Dr. VKV show? Can we get a count?
That's for sure.
How many other stations can we get a count as to who listens to the Dr. VKV? So please come in with your call sign.
Well, don't everybody talk at once.
Well, we had Jeremy out there and a couple other guys out there as well. But anyway, Jimmy, I'm going to turn it over to you and see if anybody's like to give it a shout and see if we can help them out.
Roger, Roger. Well, this is the KC9VKV Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, where we try to assist folks in their transmitter setups. And if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
November 4, Whiskey Hotel Papa.
Alpha.
Whiskey Hotel Papa, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Whiskey Hotel Papa, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Yes, this is November 4, Whiskey Hotel Papa.
Whiskey Hotel Papa. Whiskey Hotel Papa. Roger, and what's the name there?
Whiskey Hotel Papa. Whiskey Hotel Papa. Roger, and what's the name there?
Whiskey name here is Will.
Delta Hotel.
Whiskey India Lima Lima.
Lima station, stand by, please.
Say again?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. This is Daryl. Recently, I talked to you once before, but I'm on a different radio now at RC75. And I'm having trouble, getting it working just right. I just wondered if I'm sounding okay or what.
Stand by there, station. I'll be right with you. Right now I'm working Will, W9 WRP, roger?
W9 WRP, roger.
Is that Will out there?
Go ahead, sorry.
I think we're doubling. Will, is that you?
Yeah, Will is right here. I think we're doubling. Will, is that you?
Yeah, if Will is out there, come back again. Just give me a call sign one more time so I can be sure it's you.
Come back again. Just give me a call sign one more time so I can be sure it's you. Yes, November 4, Whiskey Hotel Papa.
Roger, Whiskey Hotel Papa. Now, if you would, Will, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and let me turn around and see if I can find the best signal for you.
If I can find the best signal for you. Yeah, I'm running a 746 Pro and a 136-foot long copper wire antenna, and it's about 20 feet high. I was going to use the Yaesu FT857 today, but that's having a hard time getting out. The Icon is best suited right now because it's got the tuner, but the 57 does not. So I gotta figure that out. Over.
Okay, so what radio is it you are running today?
Okay, so what radio is it you are running today? The Icon IC746 Pro.
Alrighty, well, a couple of things. Is that an older radio or a newer radio?
Alrighty, well, a couple of things. Is that an older radio or a newer radio? 1998 to the early 2000s.
Okay, do you know about the transmit bandwidth? What transmit bandwidth? Does it have a selection or not? Are you locked into a certain bandwidth?
Selection or not? Are you locked into a certain bandwidth? Yes, I am on wide right now.
Oh, excellent. Okay, let's go to your compressor processor on and add a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. We just want to just slightly use that compressor processor. 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, roger?
Processor. 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, roger? QSL. Yeah, I have it set to 3 out of 10 right now.
Okay, sir. Now let's go to your ALC meter. And as you say the word audio, just the first part of that word, audio, and with your mic gain, set your ALC meter to where it runs at 2/3 or 7. 2/3 or 7 on your ALC meter.
2/3 or 7 on your ALC meter. Audio. Okay, that's 2/3 right there.
Yes, sir. Now, that is the normal way that you can set up 100%. When you can go further and reduce your dB width, to maybe 2 dB dynamic range, and that would give you a higher level like what you were, which was into distortion there. This way, you're much more in the clean, roger?
This way, you're much more in the clean, roger?
Yeah, copy that. Right now, yeah, it's about 2/3. So, yeah, I talked to you about 2 weeks ago on this radio, and I figured out some of the, what do you call it? There's another setting you can do to the single sideband that will allow you to do deeper bass, if that makes any sense, and I'm running that right now. Over.
Roger, Roger. But somehow you wound up with your mic gain much too hot. The thing is, maybe you should run with your ALC meter out, where you can be looking at your ALC meter as opposed to any other meter. I mean, you might be able to see other meters, but you should maybe concentrate on your ALC meter. And you want to try to keep your voice right in the middle of that sweet spot, which is, as we discussed, 7 or 2/3. So I would suggest that you really, concentrate over a period of time, just keeping your voice right in that sweet spot, Roger.
Just keeping your voice right in that sweet spot, Roger.
Copy that. Yeah, I'll try to keep it there. The problem is my voice is very deep and very soft-spoken, so it gets a little difficult to figure out where I need to be. Over.
Yeah. So now the last 4 words or 3 words of that response just now were perfect, absolutely perfect. So it's just a matter of tweaking your mic level until your conversation that is pleasant to you or is normal to you works. You can, and that's the mic level. So just adjust that mic level up or down until the way you're speaking is, that mic level is keeping you in that sweet spot on the ALC meter. Once you get that, boy, man, it's just really strong.
Get that, boy, man, it's just really strong.
Okay, copy that. I think this might be it here. I am listening to myself on a Pennsylvania SDR right now, so it's a little weird listening to myself talk, but I am trying that out as well. And there's people just sending random beats right now, so that's fun.
Roger, Will. Well, the main thing is, when you're speaking, I think sometimes the earphones can be terribly distracting. I mean, although they are great in one manner, they could be distracting in another manner. And so, the ALC meter is there. It doesn't make any noise, but it does represent the modulation index, which has altogether what your volume is on your transmitter. And so you want to keep that ALC meter mid-scale, 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first. That is the sweet spot.
Or 7, whichever comes first. That is the sweet spot.
Okay, copy that. Yeah, I'm keeping it at about 2/3 right now. So, and I'm keeping across the mic. So, like holding it up to my lip, rather, the corner of my lip. So that's how I'm able to, make sure I'm right.
Yeah, Roger. However you have to do it to keep your, your meter at 2/3 or 7, and a lot of it also has to do with speech speed. I mean, there's no way that you can keep it for long in the sweet spot if it's not modulated. So sometimes, speed, word count, or I don't know, but that's the only way that you normally would keep a meter up is by the speed of your voice, and more speed than less, so to speak, and that will really help with staying in that sweet spot. Roger.
That will really help with staying in that sweet spot. Roger.
Copy that. So, keeping track of my speed. Okay. I can plug up the antenna and check and see if you can hear me on it.
Trying to get a good copy on you, Willie. You've kind of faded down quite a bit, Roger.
Trying to get a good copy on you, Willie. You've kind of faded down quite a bit, Roger.
Roger. Is it okay if I hook my 857 up to the antenna and try to talk on it? See if you can hear me on it. Over.
Oh, why, sure, yeah. We've got some idiot QRMing, deliberately interfering, but, you know, there's always poor radio operators wherever you go.
You know, there's always poor radio operators wherever you go.
Copy that. Yeah, it's just a bunch of CBers. I'm sure that's going to encourage them to say something, but that's what it is. It's just a bunch of immature CBers. Over.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even bring a CB into it. I mean, those guys, they do pretty good for the best, you know. I mean, you know, we've got like a wasteland like 7200 where we've managed to get most of the, you know, how should I put this? 7200 is a well-used frequency for, I can't say it.
Well-used frequency for, I can't say it. All the miscreants.
Drifting Dreamers.
Copy that.
Drifting Dreamers.
Yeah, I said just Drifting Dreamers.
857. I
said just Drifting Dreamers.
Well, Will, I think, gosh, you know, I wish I had a better copy on you to go in there and do your EQ. Let's go around the horn one more time. Tell me the best thing you like about your radio for 10 to 15 seconds, and I'll check again if I am hotter elsewhere than here.
Check again if I am hotter elsewhere than here.
The best thing I like about my radio is going to be just easy. Number 7, it takes me to 40 meters. I can select 14, and it takes me to 20 meters. I can select 21. It takes me to, I think that's 15. And then 24 is going to be like 12. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's a really good radio. Easy to set up and easy settings to navigate.
Roger, Will, now just out of curiosity, what is your internal mic gain set at right at the moment?
What is your internal mic gain set at right at the moment?
My internal mic gain?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's well below half. I'm not exactly sure, because it's just a little knob.
Oh, Roger, and it doesn't reflect any kind of meter ID as to what your mic level is?
Meter ID as to what your mic level is?
The ALC is the only meter that I see, and it's about 2/3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So then, I guess you know, like I say, the ALC is the Bible for that radio. So you really want to pay a lot of attention to that, and that'll keep you right in good state as far as operating the transmitter at its best configuration and being able to get from here to there. Roger.
Being able to get from here to there. Roger.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, I'm still in the IC right now, the 746. I haven't switched over to the A2 yet. Wasn't sure on that because people kept on QRMing and interfering with your transmission, so I couldn't really understand what you were saying about like 2 minutes ago. Over.
Roger. Now that last transmission was just ideal. I wouldn't change a thing, just leave it just like that. And is there another radio that you want to set up?
Leave it just like that. And is there another radio that you want to set up?
Yeah, if you can hear it. It's not getting out very well. Over.
All right. Are you using an amp on this radio?
All right. Are you using an amp on this radio?
Yeah, so right now I'm on the 746. I'm about to switch over to the 857. Over.
Roger. Okay, so if you're using an amp, keep on using that amp. Roger?
So if you're using an amp, keep on using that amp. Roger?
Keep on using what?
You're using an outboard amplifier. Is that a Roger with the radio you're speaking on now?
Using an outboard amplifier. Is that a Roger with the radio you're speaking on now?
No, I'm not using any kind of amp right now. I'm just putting out 100 watts. Over.
Oh, okay. All righty, so go ahead and switch over to that other radio.
Oh, okay. All righty, so go ahead and switch over to that other radio.
All right, copy that.
This is the Thursday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. My name is Jim, and we're talking to Will. And I haven't gotten Will's location. Will, where are you located, sir?
I haven't gotten Will's location. Will, where are you located, sir?
He's probably in the middle. He's swapping another radio in there. We're going to check it out. It apparently is not feeling very well, so we'll have to see what's wrong with it.
Feeling very well, so we'll have to see what's wrong with it. What are you on today, Lou?
I'm on the 7760, the Icon.
What do you think of that rig?
I love it. I was a beta tester for 6 months, and
Yeah, I've heard guys talking about it, but I haven't heard one on the air till now.
this thing will take this still talk to daylight to dark.
Is that the replacement for the 7700, or is it kind of the upgrade of the 7610?
No, at $6,000, it's a little bit more than an upgrade.
Okay, so it's 2 upgrades.
Yeah, it's the 50th anniversary of Icon.
Now, does that radio have electret capability?
Does it have what?
Electret microphone capability?
Yes, it does. That's what I'm on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the greatest thing is electret microphones. They really just try to get to that top end articulation as best they can. And in my opinion, is they're much better than a lot of dynamic microphones. Most dynamic microphones do not have the frequency response in the top end as does an electret microphone.
Well, I'm going from my Elmer, Dr. KC9VKV. He built the microphone for me, so that's what I'm on.
Hey, I saw that, and I don't even eat tuna fish.
I do.
Well, is that a tuna filter?
That's a tuna filter.
All right. I don't remember building it, but does it work pretty well, or does it sound like you're kind of slapping around in the water, or how does that work?
Works excellent. All I did was take your microphone, install it into a tuna can, and put some screen around it, and there I go.
Now, did you go with Star-Kissed or Bumblebee or Chicken of the Sea?
I went with Star-Kissed.
Sorry, Charlie.
Well, I tell you, now, I don't want to be hearing this thing when it gets to be summertime, in the middle of summertime, and your shack is running 120 degrees, and you're going to be saying, what's that smell?
Chuck, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Lou. Like I say, I'm just trying to... I haven't had a cold in about 10 years, and so this thing has really kind of knocked me back, but we'll give it 2 or 3 days and some vitamin C and see where we are.
Good deal, good deal. Glad to hear it. I'm going through the same thing you're going through. Me and the wife both had it. The bad, whatever it is, head cold, you name it, for last week or so. And she's in the office for today, and I'm in the radio room for today. Like I told her, I'm in the closet, all 12 by 14 walk-in closet. It's nothing but radio room for me with my lazy boy recliner, over.
That's not a bad place to be, especially in light of the fact that we're actually having a winter this year, which I don't care for. In fact, I see here we're under a flood watch, Lou. We might get several inches of rain.
Well, I'll bring out the Noah Ark and I'll pick you up there, young man.
Either that or a really big kayak. Anyway, Lou, I'm gonna, if I have to purchase a desk mic, what should I be looking for? Because I'll be honest with you, I haven't bought a mic in decades, so I know absolutely nothing about them.
An MC80?
All right, sounds like a Kenwood desk mic.
Yep, MC80. Either that or an MC60, MC50. I would ask around and ask people what's the best for the 850.
Yeah, I'll have to encounter an 850 aficionado and see what they tell me, I guess. You know, they're still around, but not as many of us running the 850s as there once were, Lou. I'll tell you one thing. When they built this radio, though, they really outdid themselves.
The 850 is the cream of the crow, and I do have one with the. I did find the one that I bought new in 1984. I bought it new with the power supply and the desk mic and the SM220, and I did not know I still had it. And the wife reminded me that it was in the lower level of the home in storage.
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, that sounds like one of the early ones, so it would probably need some TLC to get it up to snuff.
Yeah, you just need a Bob Heil microphone, not the top of the line necessarily, maybe even, one or two down from the top, but a Bob Heil microphone will do you well.
And they got some really nice mics that you hold in your hand, like a Singer mic, Chuck, and you can just press the button with your finger on the side of the Singer mic, and it really works great. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. Bob Howell makes them.
Yeah, I would prefer not to have a contact with the microphone for a switch on the microphone, because invariably you get into a situation like he's got now. You have hand noise onto the microphone, whereas the better way is to do a remote switch or a hand switch or something far removed from actually touching the microphone. Roger?
Yeah, well, I'll take all of that under advisement, Jim. I'm just glad to be back on the air. So, we tackle one thing at a time, and then at some point, Lou, I'm going to look for a small amp, SB200, something in that neighborhood, maybe a reworked 30L1, something like that. But anyway, that's for this summer. So we'll see how it goes. N9GTO, and Jim, I got to get your call. It's WA8VMO.
Roger, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
KC9VKV, gotcha.
Roger, sir. 73 that way. And Will, are you out there? Now that's about 4KC, so it's not an audio thing; it's a side modulated RF thing.
Yep, I see it here on the scope.
How about it, Will? Are you out there? Okay, buddy, I'm listening for you on the PA-SDR. Come on back and let me see if I can hear you.
On the PA-SDR. Come on back and let me see if I can hear you.
The gentleman saying, do you copy? Can you come over? Can you make your call sound about 3 or 4 times over? 4 times, over.
I got him down on my Georgia antenna, but he's really weak, and that Georgia antenna's got a buzz in it. 6KC.
Yep. Same transmitter.
Yep. Come on, good buddy. We'll have your address in a minute.
Gentleman down there that was calling Jim's, they had your call sign several times. We're not able to hear you so far. Give it a few minutes and give us a holler back. N9 GTO.
This is KC9VKV. Will, you got a copy there?
Thank you for your patience.
This is KC9VKV. Will, you got a copy there?
Yeah, I can copy you fine, but I don't think the
This Will coming back to you now.
Yeah, I've got him.
Yeah, I've got him.
Yeah, roger that, roger that. Is that your radio that you started with?
Yeah, roger that, roger that. Is that your radio that you started with?
Is the radio you're running now the radio that you started with, or is this your number 2 radio?
Running now the radio that you started with, or is this your number 2 radio?
First radio, roger, I copy. We just, Mother Nature kind of pulled the rug out from under us. And so things are kind of marginal right now, more so than before, roger?
And so things are kind of marginal right now, more so than before, roger?
So, well, let me say 73 to you, sir, and maybe next week we can get a hold of that EQ and crank it up or whatever we need to do on it. But it's just too noisy to be able to do that at this time, Roger?
To be able to do that at this time, Roger?
And hope you have a good rest of your week.
Roger, Roger, Will, 73, sir, and you have a... Will, whereabouts are you located, sir?
3, sir, and you have a... Will, whereabouts are you located, sir?
Roger, Virginia, roger, roger.
Roger, Virginia, roger, roger.
Well, interesting so far.
Well, interesting so far.
This is KC9VKV with the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
You had a K9FAA in there earlier. I don't know if he's still around or not.
FAA, this is KC9VKV.
FAA, this is KC9VKV.
This is KC9VKV. FAA, are you out there?
This is KC9VKV. FAA, are you out there? Hey, Jim, Blue, WA8BMO, I'm going to go feed the dogs, so you guys have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Roger, roger, 73 that way.
Roger, roger, 73 that way.
This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Yeah, and then GTO, I'd like to check out my radio, over.
Yes, sir. Have at it, sir.
Well, just know one thing. I'm enjoying myself today, listening to that. Chuck as well is in there, and he enjoying himself. He's getting dog fed right now. But all in all, I'm enjoying myself. It's been a learning curve for me today. I've learned a lot by information and sucking that stuff down. Good DNA on the band as well.
Roger, Roger. Well, comes and goes. Just sometimes they're better than other times. I guess that's the way life is, though.
Oh, I'll take it any way I can get it. But all in all, man, I just kind of wonder, Jim, how's the works on the bird happening? Is the bird any time going to be put together? Is it any time that we're going to have the bird coming down from behind you with the word of the day over?
Well, the bird will come down and he'll have secret word bird. And I've got the bird. I just haven't figured out how to bring it down.
Well, I've done talked to your assistant, Teresa. She said that there's cables that can go in between the walls, and when she's given a hint, she'll let the cable up and down.
Well, yeah. I can if I can find her, you know.
Oh, she's there. She's just in the next room over from you.
I know, but she's working hard, and I don't want to disturb her more than what is. But we'll work it out there. You know, say the secret word and win nothing over $1.
Wait a minute. Say the secret word. We'll give you 5 minutes of your time on our dime.
I'll figure out how that works.
We'll be glad to get you your own vlog. We'll put you on the vlog for 5 minutes.
Well, put them on my vlog for 5 minutes, you know. Content.
Well, yeah, we're going to put them on the KC9VKV vlog, and like I said, we'll do a little biography of an individual that wins that special word. You know, we'll be glad to tell us a little bit about your station. Tell us about how it's all set up. How long you been a ham? What kind of conditions, station grounds do you have? What is your interest? Do you like fishing? What about all the other stuff as well?
I'll put you in charge of that.
That sounds good. I'll take charge of it.
There would be incidental information pertaining to the winner of the word bird.
A word of the bird. Bird, word, bird. Yeah, that's it.
This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Want to check out? Give me a shout.
$28 minutes left.
Yeah. We may go. I may go fishing early this afternoon.
I've been fishing all week.
I mean, if everybody's tuned up and everything is copacetic, you know, I'll just back out of here and go fishing.
I'll pick you up in my boat.
You got it. We'll float around my moat.
In my boat. Compliments on this transceiver. A lot of good compliments on the sound.
Roger. Well, you know, I'm looking at it on a spectrum analyzer, and you're just, you know, wall to wall, so I can't do hardly better than that.
No, that's what the achievement was with ICOM.
Yes, that is, you know, Bob Heil's legacy, Roger.
Oh, this one here, yeah, 7300's a different story. I'm on the 7760. I'm on the one that has an umbilical cord from the transceiver to the headset, the big display that's 10 feet long, over.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Now, you don't even need a widescreen monitor, right?
But I use one anyway.
Oh, Roger, Roger. And what is that, HDMI out?
Yes, uh-huh.
Oh, man, such a nice system to use HDMI. You just wonder why other folks might not have done that.
The only way to go, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who wants to fool with a computer and some other thing between the the screen and the transceiver? Just HDMI it. Now I got one for you.
Go ahead.
HDMI can ship audio down that HDMI line. Do you have audio going to your monitor?
I do.
Roger, Roger. That's just so beautiful.
Oh, yes. And sound coming out of I got a 42-inch television here, an LG. And, man, is it doing beautiful on that 42-inch.
Roger. Yes, sir. That's what I wanted to do that with the 7610, but, the more I thought about it, gosh, it seems like a lot of work. And it's not going to make any, probably any real difference there, just more work. So maybe I'll just cruise along like it is.
Well, we're still working on it, Jimmy.
Well, I know, but whatever, que sera, sera.
Well, wait a minute now. Don't give up hope, because you're not Bob Hope.
No, I'm not giving up hope, but, it is what it is, and when it is, if it is, then it is.
I'm learning more and more and more about this thing.
Yes, sir. Now, just in general, how thick is your book on that radio?
The CD-ROM version or the real book?
The real book.
Half size is a King James Bible.
Yeah, Roger. And can you imagine now the poor little average ham operator gets that book and it says, do what?
Oh, it's intimidating.
I sure hope that they have a good, what do they call that, where they tell out where everything is. I forget what that is, but I hope they have a good one.
Me too.
What is that called? Not an introduction, but the contents. Yes, contents labeling from page to page or section to section or whatever it is.
The Book of Jude.
Roger, well, something, there's nothing like being able to actually find something you need to know, provided it doesn't take you 4 hours to zero in on what that might be, Roger?
Index.
Index, exactly.
Index, yes. Thank you. Chuck, you've just said the word of the day.
I had to fish around for it myself.
Hey, the bird did come down and land. I do have the bird landing, and it said index. Da 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 da.
So, Chuck, you'll be receiving a new 850 Kenwood hand mic in the mail, modified by your friend Lou, with a lithium grease inside of it, and you'll be sending the old one back for me to modify that one and shipping it to you as well, so you'll have 2 clunker microphones that don't clunk.
Whatever shall I do? All right, when I get it, I'll wrap this baby up and I'll send it to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so I wrote this thing the other day, And I'm trying to remember it, but it goes like, and now time for another thrilling edition of Adventures in Radioland. This segment, my grandfather, and a newspaper article from the early 1950s. The article reads, W.H. Fergusson of 135 New York Avenue, builder of radios and tinkerer with things electrical, claims the distinction of being the oldest active radio addict in this section of the state of Florida. Mr. Fergusson first began his experiments with wireless telegraphy back in 1894 when he met Marconi, inventor of the wireless, when Marconi came to visit the Blue Hill Observatory at Reedville, Massachusetts, where my grandfather was working at that time. With a dozen or more sets that he keeps rigged up by his workshop in the rear of his home, back to the article, Mr. Fergusson can receive concert broadcasts from all over the nation and with many stations abroad. With his low meter sets, I guess they mean low band, he receives, hang on just a minute, I gotta, let me get squared away here. And in the rear of his home, Mr. Fergusson can receive concert broadcasts from all over the nation and with many stations abroad. With his low meter sets, he receives code messages from all parts of the world. When asked what if there is nothing on the air, Mr. Fergusson pulled down a book that resembled the telephone directory of Greater New York, in which were listed the various broadcast and amateur stations of the United States. There were approximately 65,000 amateur stations in the United States at that time. The veteran radio enthusiast said that the popular conception of a radio bug as one who sits for hours in front of the superheterodyne radio tuning on this station and that is erroneous. Such fans are novices in the game. They've had just broken the ice. The real bug is the one who juggles the dots and dashes from one continent to another. The real bug spurns a concert but loves only the code, Mr. Fergusson said. He said one of the strangest looking sets among Mr. Fergusson's collection is one designed to receive code messages at great distances. This outfit looks like 2 inkwells and a couple of gutter strings mounted on an ordinary rough pine board. With this outfit, he receives messages from Australia, as early as from stations in this country. In fact, this little long-distance set will receive nothing within 1,200 miles when telephone and telegraph lines and radio stations all over Florida were paralyzed by the September hurricane last year. Mr. Fergusson sent the first messages of the hurricane to station WJZ, which is now WABC in New York, using the call letters of a Pensacola station. And Mr. Fergusson has resided at West Palm Beach for about 3 years. And so that's a little newspaper article on my granddad. Now, we're just talking about the ham radio bug. And this went, it skips a generation. Just like from my grandfather to me, my father had no interest in ham radio. Roger, Roger?
Yes, and so did mine.
So I can honestly say, and let me tell you about Blue Hill. My grandfather was working at Blue Hill with his brother Sterling Fergusson, and they were doing kites for weather kites, forerunners of the first high ceiling weather sampling at Blue Hill. And I'm sure that Marconi was thinking about that because they were using wire to support these kites. And so all Marconi had to do was hook up a wire to one of these kites, and he's got a 2,000, 3,000 foot antenna up there, which really would help his signal strength abroad.
Vertically, it would.
Now, the thing would be to already have a 2,000 foot horizontal line, so he has a kind of an L-shaped dipole antenna, Roger?
Yeah, you need a 20-foot piece of meteor string between a helium balloon and an antenna, because if you fire that antenna up with that high voltage node at the top of that antenna into a helium balloon, you're going to have an explosion.
Yeah, no, they were using kites at the time. They were building, like 8-foot, 10-foot kites, maybe bigger than that, that would carry weather components and machines up into the stratosphere or up into the air anyway, and they would let them, I think they had graph meters or whatever, and they could bring it back down and see what the conditions were aloft. Roger?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. But I've seen them build box kites as well, huge box kites that are 20 feet long by 8 foot in diameter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, this Blue Hill was really an unusual place. It was a private place to begin with. I guess it's now a national monument, but it was, a guy that was fairly wealthy that decided that he wanted to build a weather station. He had a great interest in weather conditions, and so he did hire my grandfather and his brother. I'm not sure what that turns out to be to me, but anyway, they worked at Blue Hill, and Sterling was the genius there that built all the kites and particularly the weather machines. He built the weather machines that they were using to sample the weather.
Roger that. Sounds like a great idea and a whole lot of fun at the time of the invention.
This, consider the time was 1896, thereabouts, 1895. That's, pretty early. Marconi was just, the whole thing about amateur radio and radio in general is that we walk on other people's backs. We take advantage of all of the expectations and experimentations that go before us. So, and then we apply our knowledge to advance the medium. Roger?
And the mystery of radio shall always live in a man's heart.
There you go. And along with that, never turn a PA on in vain.
No, especially with 10,000 volts on top of the anode.
Roger. I was something. Was that you that we were talking about somebody that was no longer with us, and we were trying to decide if he might have gotten between 3,000 volts?
Yeah, he died of something totally different, but he did not die of electrocution.
Okay, but a good thing to think about if you are into doing your thing and it involves a high voltage, that the most important thing is I think make sure things are off and get a ground on that high voltage to short anything that might be there. In the Navy, they called this item an S stick. That would be a ground wire attached to a wooden rod, and they would open the back door to these transmitters and just go tapping around there. Fairly well, should be dead, but they wanted to be sure they were not dead, and so they did, use that to tap around to make sure things were dead, and then they would clip that to a high voltage point to make sure it didn't come back alive.
Oh yeah, chicken stick, an S stick, a short stick, that's what that stands for. Normally fiberglass, you take a fiberglass driveway pole for $3 or something, Home Depot, and put your connector on the end of it and feed you a number 10 gauge stranded wire down the side of it with some tape on it, and put some copper strap down there for good conductivity, and have a clamp on a deal, like a static clamp-on charge clamp. And, boy, you can just go to town. I mean, you can go to town. I remember one day I had a loaded capacitor. I mean, it was loaded big time. And when I hit that thing to the ground, it went off like a 50 caliber beside my head.
Roger, Roger. Now, I would tell you, I have seen the most amazing thing. Like, overseas, Ukraine and Russia are in this great fight. All right, so there are some other European countries that were getting their power, mainly electricity at this point, from Russia, and they decided that they were going to break away from the Russian power source and revert to somebody else's power input for our country. So I saw this thing. They have these big clamps that clamp onto these other connectors that make this connection. And this guy, I don't know how they do it or what they do, but this was the moment that they broke away from the Russian power source, moving towards their new source. And there were flames, actual flames, about 4 feet long. Looks like cracks of electrical static or electrical lightning between as they move the switch away from each other. And there was a 4 foot, at least 4 foot arcing at that point. Roger?
That's called 6146 kVA.
Well, just amazing there. And this was like 3 or 4 at a time. They moved out in a sequence of 3 or 4, well, I just saw this one thing, which was, I forget, 3 or 4 connectors moving out from the old connection to Russia at the same time.
And GTO KC9VKV, which in GTO for ID.
I just thought it was just amazing. You know, it comes to bring to mind these guys that are in charge of washing these insulators on these high voltage towers, that they have to figure out a way. The first thing they do is connect their helicopter to the wire that they're working on as they are insulating the insulator. That way, you know, the helicopter is thousands of volts, but there's no arc between them, and that's why they can work like that.
It's called a static line, Jimmy. That's when they're both at the equilibrium of voltage. If it's got 4160, 6146 on the line, they basically go in there and they take that arcing stick and they get the chopper at the same potential as the power line is, and that's how everything works out so well.
Roger. I would really hate to be working on something and lose my my ground to or my sampling point to that high voltage line. Ooh, boy.
Now, once they do that with that stick, they have a clamp they clamp on there. It's called a static line. And the guy's got like 20 feet. He can go back and forth with the chopper. He may have 50 feet on that reel or 100. He can go back and forth, and he stays the same potential with the chopper over.
Roger. Now, if I were a new employee and my job was to wash insulators, I would say, are you sure about this?
Well, it's a good paying job, Jimmy. 10 years and you're retired, fully invested.
Yeah, if you make it.
So, I'm going to tell you something. They're, believe it or not, a bus driver, he's got more chances of dying than a man washing insulators.
Well, it's particularly if you're a bus driver in Detroit.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to see if anybody's out there real quick to wrap this thing up. They want to get a radio check or check their radio, however that goes. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have that radio, give me a shout.
Just so you know, Jimmy, special with me.
Now wait a minute, I'm not copying you on my local antenna. Why is that?
I'm not copying you on my local antenna. Why is that?
I'm not sure. You must got something turned on.
No, I've got you. I guess you were just speaking quickly and taking a pause there, because when I went to my 7300, there was nothing there. I was copying the mail on my Kentucky SDR, but not on my local antenna, and I was saying, now how is that possible?
What's what happens when you got a man, you kind of remind me of your station.
I'll look for your package and I'll return the other one. 73s to both of you. And Lou, at some point I'm going to have a long QSO with you and catch up on everything. 73s, guys, WA8VMO.
All right, Chuck, 73s, W8VMO with the 9 GTO and KC9VKV in the group. 73s, so have a blessed one. And, Jim, there was something I was going to tell you, but I've done lost. Oh, I sent you an email with a special link, Mr. Ferguson.
Alrighty, I'll get to that when I get to that. And in the meantime, I got to get out of here. Since 3:30, we've been transmitting and kidding around and doing a little help, setting folks up. And if you were receiving some of that or interested, we've been recording all along. And if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will bring you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3300, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. So there you go. And Lou, let me say 73 to you, buddy. I appreciate the talk, and we thoroughly confused everybody.
That's what it's all about, Jimmy. You're dying my time. N9 GTO listening.
Roger, 73. And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog net, saying 73 and returning this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. KC9VKV is clear.